What about if you had $100 billion? Imagine you suddenly woke up one morning, went to check your bank balance out of habit, and were met by a number so vast and surreal that it almost didn't fit on the screen. $100 billion. The zeros stretch endlessly, dazzling, dizzying. Perhaps at first you think it's a mistake, a bank error, a glitch in the system. But as you call your financial institution, speak to stern-voiced representatives, log in again and again, the reality begins to set in. The confirmation arrives. The balance is real. You, a person like any other until yesterday, are now among the richest human beings to have ever lived. What would that actually mean? How would your life change? And how would the world around you shift because of this event? The first moments would be a whirlwind. Disbelief, elation, terror, responsibility, possibility. These emotions would come crashing in like waves. With $100 billion, your wealth would dwarf the lifetime earnings and assets of entire cities or even countries. Thus, your relationship to money, time, society, and self would change forever and in ways both extraordinary and unexpected. First, there is the practical reality. Even the act of simply having that kind of money redefines your existence. With this magnitude of funds, you're no longer a participant in the ordinary flows of commerce, but an orchestrator, possibly a disruptor, of global events. The world's billionaires club, exclusive as it is, might hold your new peers, but few, if any, would have pockets as deep as yours. You could buy flagship companies outright, build city-scale infrastructure, or move entire industries with a signature. Your phone would start to ring incessantly, friends and family wanting to confirm the news, sometimes sincerely, sometimes anxiously, perhaps even suspiciously. Some would quietly hope for generosity. Others might worry about your safety, as immense fortune can bring threats as easily as it brings friends. You'd need to rethink your daily routines. Privacy would become paramount. Even a trip to the local store might become fraught with risk. Your name and face suddenly splashed across headlines worldwide, the subject of relentless press coverage and speculation. In the initial days, you might focus on security. You would hire trusted advisors, those with experience guiding the ultra-wealthy. Security consultants and financial planners, perhaps family office managers, would be essential. Private security would become a must. Your home, your travel, even your digital life would require fortification of a sort rarely imagined by most. Every digital trace would be analyzed for risk, every transaction monitored. Soon after, your thoughts would turn to what you could do with this near-unlimited wealth. The sheer size of the sum invites possibilities that border on the fantastical. What are the limits, if any? What responsibilities might such wealth confer? $100 billion is enough to rival the biggest philanthropic organizations the world has ever known. If you cared about a cause, you could make transformative change. Imagine eradicating a disease. With funding on that level, scientific research, distribution of medicine, and even sweeping public health campaigns are within reach. Or perhaps you wish to revolutionize education. You could seed world-class universities on several continents, or establish scholarship programs ensuring that generations of students are never held back by cost. You could set your sights on infrastructure. Think about enabling an entire nation's access to clean water, renewable energy, or advanced telecommunications. Each of these is not only possible, but well within your capacity. For perspective, consider some comparisons. The construction of the International Space Station cost an estimated $150 billion. The annual budget of a major world city, such as New York, is not much larger than your newfound fortune. The entire annual budget of the United Nations is about $3 billion. The wealth at your disposal could endow dozens of leading universities, construct thousands of schools, build entire transportation systems, or provide vaccinations for millions. Yet, monetary scale can be deceptive. The reality of change and its accompanying complexity can be far more intricate. Dumping resources into a problem does not guarantee its solution. There are logistical, political, and cultural nuances in every major issue. With such scale, you would quickly realize that you would need trusted experts, not just money, to make an impact. You could gather teams of the world's leading scientists, engineers, and policy minds to devise and implement new strategies for societal progress. With almost inexhaustible resources, unprecedented power comes into your hands. Power to shape economies, shift policy, and potentially move entire cultures. Yet, this power carries equal potential for backlash. Money, especially on this scale, invites scrutiny. Every decision, every misstep is amplified. Not every gift is welcomed by its recipients. Sometimes, philanthropy encounters local resistance or government suspicion. Consider the reactions to large foreign donations in developing nations. Despite intentions, some resent perceived encroachment or fear destabilization. Your motivations would be endlessly analyzed. Are your interventions acts of benevolence or vanity? Are you attempting to buy influence, rewrite social compacts, or tilt the playing field toward your own interests? Actions, even well-intentioned ones, can create tidal waves. 100 billion in donations to a specific sector or country could shift global markets, trigger political debates, and knock delicate economies off balance. Balancing your vision with humility and care would be crucial. Of course, you do not need to dedicate your fortune solely to philanthropy. You might remain motivated by your own interests and passions. Think how life could become an adventure. World travel in the greatest luxury, private jets and yachts, buying homes in every country that catches your fancy. The world would open its most exclusive doors, even beyond imagination. Rather than choosing between desires, you could indulge them all at once. Artists and creators dream of having swift and unlimited patronage. You could become a modern Medici, bankrolling ambitious projects, commissioning artwork, funding independent films, and giving grants to emerging geniuses in science, art, and literature. Landmarks could bear your name, and the world's artistic output shaped by your vision and taste. But along with these dreams comes the psychology of wealth. There's a saying, money doesn't buy happiness, though it does buy flexibility. Today, you could walk anywhere, do anything, sample any experience. Yet, paradoxically, $100 billion could also bring disconnection. The unique problems of such wealth can include isolation, the reality that so few can understand your new life, and so many approaches and friendships are tinged with ulterior motives. People might begin to treat you differently, even those you were close to before. Relationships, once spontaneous and simple, can become complex, clouded by suspicion or hopes for gain. Romantic prospects might become shadowed by distrust. Would they love you or for what you represent? There's also the psychological toll of such power. Hundreds of billions grant an ability to intervene on nearly any issue. Deciding where to apply your resources could be paralyzing. Every donation or business decision may leave 10 causes, 10 opportunities, unmet. A sense of overwhelm is possible, and with it, the ever-present worry that you are not doing enough. On a practical level, your priorities and values would determine the course you chart. Some might choose to live quietly, shielded by legal mechanisms and shell companies, keeping their names and activities out of public view. Others, driven by personal conviction or a sense of historic opportunity, would become visible, leading global efforts, founding foundations, entering public debates about social challenges. You could structure your wealth to ensure it outlives you. Philanthropic trusts, perpetual endowments, ambitious moonshot projects. Perhaps you'd fund research in longevity, seeking to extend healthy human life, or tackle climate change with investments in green technology. You might establish your own vision for Mars colonization, follow as a patron in the footsteps of today's private space sector innovation. Some might choose investments that seek to grow the fortune further, wielding the resources not a static sum, but as an engine for compounding growth. Imagine running your own sovereign wealth fund, larger than many nations, with the ambition to preserve wealth across generations and drive innovations in science, medicine, technology, and human progress. With time, you would notice how your existence is fundamentally shaped by your fortune. Daily routines, mundane to most, would be reshaped. No waiting in lines, no commercial flights, no concerns about bills or job security. Appointments would be tailored to your schedule. Access, once a barrier, disappears. Need time or help? Gates open. Staff, advisors, and assistants on call. But true contentment might now rely less on material acquisition and more on meaning. Many wealthy individuals remark that after certain needs are met, further sums do not enhance happiness, but rather breeds desires for significance, purpose, legacy. With such vast sums, you'd have the opportunity to change your own life, yes, but also the very nature of society. You might invest in universal access to cutting-edge medicines and cures, endowing research that leapfrogs decades of incremental progress. Purchase or develop clean energy infrastructure on a planetary scale, accelerating the transition away from fossil fuels. Address poverty by building housing, supplying clean water, distributing food, and offering microloans to millions. Develop education technology to reach every child wherever they are, breaking barriers of geography and class. Science. Fund new forms of art, expand the reach of culture, and foster a renaissance of creativity. Equip under-resourced communities with the tools to prosper, catalyze entrepreneurship, and break cycles of deprivation. Restore critical habitats, tackling climate and biodiversity loss on a scale governments might struggle to match. Support diplomatic efforts to reduce conflict, build peace, and bolster understanding among divided societies. Or perhaps, turning the power of wealth inward, you would pursue personal happiness, dedicating yourself to travel, exploration, and the search for meaning. With a billion-dollar yacht, private islands, luxury hotels, you could create a lifestyle of unprecedented ease and comfort. Yet even then, the quest for joy would call for connection, to friends, to purpose, and to the world beyond the gates of privilege. The story of immense wealth in history shows both the grand possibilities and subtle difficulties. Some titans choose to become philanthropists, changing the world. Others spiral into excess, their stories becoming cautionary tales. For some, their names endure through their world-changing gifts. For others, wealth brings isolation and conflict, sometimes even heartbreak. Wisdom, it seems, lies in harmonizing ambition with responsibility, blending power with humility. As time passes, you might experience a fundamental shift in consciousness, realizing that while money can buy almost every conceivable material thing, the truly important aspects of life, community, family, health, personal growth, require something else. Perhaps, over years, the fortune evolves from an object of novelty and excitement into a tool to shape your purpose and legacy. How do you want to be remembered? What mark do you wish to leave behind? No matter the choices you make, one thing is certain. Possessing $100 billion sets you apart irrevocably. There would never be another day of living as before. You would wield influence that echoes across nations, industries, and even generations. You might even consider your role as a steward rather than a simple owner. With such fortune comes the chance, and perhaps the obligation, to address the most daunting challenges facing humanity. Whether acting as a hidden benefactor or a visible leader, you could catalyze change in ways once reserved for governments and the great forces of history. Yet for all this, the basic truths of life still apply. Happiness is found in meaning, mastery, relationship, and kindness. Whether your next step is to donate to a cause, build a company, or simply savor a quiet moment in a world transformed, the essential quest is human, to use whatever we have, however vast, to create and contribute, to dream and to connect. In this new existence, as the world watches and wonders what you will do, the richest adventure now would be to ask and answer, what is truly worth changing? And who do you wish to become along the way? Thank you for watching the video. What do you think about today's topic? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and share the video to support the channel. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.